No, it's not obvious because you got a 6'6", 280-pound plus or minus freight train of a guy who, when he's playing, he's missed a lot of time.
Has he?
Right, he's missed about 90-some-odd games. Okay, compared to Ja's. Ja's played at about, 249? He's played in about 137. But when you look at the career statistics based on the games that they played in, Zion's averaging 25, 7, and 3, where Ja is 22, 4, and 7 on the assist side. Gone to the playoffs multiple times where Zion is yet to really get his team to where they wanted to go playoff-wise. But it's hard to say based on what we saw last night that just because Ja came back and he lit the world on fire, that all of a sudden he should be the number 1 overall pick. The number 1 pick is in New Orleans. If he was in New Orleans as a player, what happens there? Does he look like the same Ja that's in Memphis? Do they allow him to play the sets and do the things that he's doing in Memphis, or will he just be doing something different? So it's really hard to redraft guys like this. It just is.
Okay.
It's not hard for me to redraft. I think they take Ja Morant number 1 overall just based on health alone. Like you said, there has been times where Zion has put up the numbers, but he's rarely on the court. And then you look at the playoff statistics, he's rarely on the court. And so when you talk about a guy Ja Morant, who had his team with the second best record in the West last year, playing really good basketball, really being dynamic, leading his team in scoring, that's the guy that you want to take number 1. He's the face of the franchise. Obviously, the off the court issues have been a problem, but it's not injury. It's not, hey, I'm injured, I can't play. Zion's had the weight issues where it's fluctuations, and they're like, hey, we need to get him to lose some weight, or he's too big, or he's not this, he's not in shape. You haven't had those concerns. You haven't had basketball concerns with Ja Morant. If he's on the court, he's effective, he's productive, he's leading his team, and they're usually in the mix in the West because of him. And when he's not on the court, you see they're 6-19 ball club. And that's the big difference. Obviously, they're missing other pieces that they had last year. And Steven Adams and Dylan Brooks, but at the same time, they were missing him. He's the main ingredient that they were missing. So if I'm doing a redraft, in this draft particularly, I'm taking Ja Morant, no question about it. It's not even a debate.
Okay, so before that draft, I went slightly Zion over Ja, and I did it strictly on size, as you started off with, Keyshawn. Girth, strength, stature, that overpowering athletic explosiveness of Zion at a bigger size than obviously Ja is, as we went back and forth. I think he's listed at 6'2". He's somewhere in that ballpark. Listen, to your point, Keyshawn, when Zion has been right in pro basketball, he's been way right. He's been all-time right. He's been historically right, because that second year in the league, he did manage to play 61 games. He made 61% of his shots. It's just impossibly great. It's an automatic bucket. You get it into him inside, and he's going to get to the free throw line or get to the rim, because once he's cooking in there, he's unstoppable. But speaking of cooking in New Orleans, in cuisine in New Orleans, he's fought his weight the whole time. And I started off the show saying that, to my eye last night, Ja, having not played basketball in a real game in 8 months, looked in better overall physical condition, especially in the fourth quarter, than Zion looked. And that's just wrong, as you know. And to Richard's point, too, he's been hurt, and then he's out of shape, and he gets more out of shape when he's hurt. And it's just hard for me to cling to the notion that long-term he's going to be more valuable than Ja. Now, we got to see how Ja handles himself, obviously, off the court. We all hope that he'll get that right, and he'll grow into it and mature into a leadership role and a face of the franchise that I believe he can. And if he does, then he will ultimately be more long-term valuable than Zion appears to be, because it looks like Zion's never going to be in great shape or consistently healthy because of not being in great shape.
Everything you just said is factually true. Everything. Out of shape, beignets every other night. All of that is true. There's no question. There's no question about it. But here's what I would say to that, though, Skip. The guy missed a whole season.
He did.
And guess what they did? They said, "Here, man, we want to sign. We're gonna max you out." So
no, you're right.
So that just says that they are conflicted on. They could have moved him.
They could have.
They could have moved him. New Orleans could have moved him, but they said, no.
Yeah.
Why are we gonna move this? We're not stupid. Let's see.
I don't know.
Let's see if he stays healthy long enough, gets himself into some sort of shape with C.J. McCollum as the leader, the veteran guy there that tries to put him.
Well, Brandon Ingram's the best player on the team.
B.I. is one of the best players on the team, no question about it. But let's put him. Well, C.J.'s had his moments too. Let's put him underneath our wing and let's see if we can get him to grow. I'm not saying that Ja doesn't deserve to be the number one guy. But it's who you like, what you want. Because when you redrafted, we can redraft in a lot of sports based on guys having the first couple years more significant than a guy that went in front of them all day long. If we redrafted Richard Sherman's class, you went into what, 5th round, Rich?
Yep.
I don't even know the other corners that played in you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I bet Richard does.
Who are those guys? So if we redrafted based on your first several years in the league, we're going to push you up in front of them and move down. So
where would Richard, where do you think you would go right now? I mean, given your career, if you redrafted?
Well, we had a great draft class with Cam and Vaughn and Julio and AJ Green.
No,
and
I mean your
Tyron
position.
And all those.
Yeah.
My position, I'd go one. I'd go. I mean, it'd be between me and Pat Peterson, depending on your preference. I would imagine.
Pretty good,
but
that's
it's all preference.
So it's all preference.
And that's the thing with Zion and Ja. It's all preference.
Wait, where did Pat go in the draft? Do you remember? Because we had him on the show.
I want to say he went 4.
He went 5.
That high?
He went high. God. He went to Arizona.
He went 5.
Yeah, 5 in Arizona.
Richard's going to go top 5, I think. Top 10.
He'll go higher than he went when he was drafted if they're looking at his first couple years in the league. You know, his first
you'd have to know what you know about Richard's productivity because Richard didn't. What is it? Time fast, Richard. You didn't.
Yeah, I didn't test well.
You didn't test well.
And he went to Stanford, so that ain't.
And it's like,
sheesh.
Very key.
But what I'm saying is, Key, I just don't see how you could, even if you with hindsight being 2020. You could see he's the 3rd best player on his team right now in Zion.
Yeah.
And I would take him over Ja Morant right now. I just couldn't see it.
Is he the best guy on his team. Is he the 3rd best player in your eyes because of his health? Because from an athletic standpoint and everything, he's the number 1 guy on the team. So it must be your concern's got to be with health.
Well, it's health, it's weight, it's the best ability sometimes is availability. Yep. And if you're not available, then how can we depend? Sometimes it's dependability, but they're hand in hand in a lot of these situations.
Right,
and if you're not available and dependable.
So this is important. Fair. One of my favorite expressions, I think I invented it, coined it, is prisoner of moment. We got to be careful we're not prisoner of last night's moment because I watched a game Zion played 2 weeks ago against Minnesota.
Ridiculous.
And Minnesota's got 2 big guys. One of them's really, really big. And Zion tore both of them up.
Almost broke one dude's hand.
He did. And Zion went in that game 13 of 17. He made 10 of 12 free throws. He scored 36 points and dominated the game. Well, if you are a prisoner of that moment, you'd say, okay, there it is, right? And then last night, Ja takes over the game in the second half. They get run out of their own building 54-32 in the second half. And I'm looking at Zion's numbers for the game. He was a -13 while Ja was a +12. -13 was the worst on his team. And you want to talk about a no-show for Zion last night? He scores a grand total of 13 points. He had 3 rebounds. He did have 4 assists because he's always pretty nifty with the basketball distributing. But 3 rebounds and 13 points, it's just wrong. And he still played 25 minutes. He rebounds low for his size because his career rebound average is 7. And you would think a guy with that stature and girth and explosiveness and leaping ability, couldn't you do better? then 7 rebounds. Couldn't you average 10?
Well, he's
11?
not always in the box, though,
Yeah.
either. He's just not always. He plays a perimeter game.
Yeah.
He gets down low a little bit, but most of his stuff is on the perimeter.
Yeah, and then Zion had a shot that he missed. It's 109 left, and we could see it. This was a big shot in the game where he took the ball down the lane, and if he could cash this, we might be having a different conversation if we could see it. Zion takes it, and I think, he's going to slam it. He tries to go up and under, and he missed it. Okay? Just go up hard. Do you think he might dunk like 2 players and the basketball in the basket?
He probably could have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he saw Jaren Jackson and
I know.
things
He's
changed.
a great shot blocker.
But for a dude that's that big moving that, you see what I'm saying? The fact that he can get from the top of the key to the cup
it's
with
rare.
2 dudes closing on him.
It's just rare.
Be able to elevate, switch around with the shoulders, in English to basketball. I mean, like, come on. You
But
can't.
that's my perfect example, Key, because he goes down and does that, and Ja Morant goes down at the other end and wins the game.
No,
Doing the exact
I
same
understand.
thing.
No, I get that, but it's when you have a talent like that, man, it's just hard to say, I'm giving up on him, because there's always the what if factor.
Yeah.
When you are talking about from a personnel front office standpoint, what if I trade him to wherever?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, this dude win 3 championships in 5 years. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm going to be looking like the damn fool.
Yep.
So you got to be careful.
I hear you.
I agree.
Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Do you want more highlights from the show? Make sure to click that subscribe button for all the exclusive content from Undisputed.